And one.
And we're live.
We are live.
Gentlemen, and presumably if there are any ladies as well out there, welcome. This is kind of an impromptu jump in. In talking to Scratch and Win yesterday, we sort of said, hey, this Giving Tuesday, or rather, as we have renamed it. By the way, look for that in every nonprofit in the whole world. If you have ever given to a nonprofit, interacted with a nonprofit, if your list of information has ever been sold to a nonprofit, you got hit up yesterday.
Yeah. If you fog a mirror and have a pulse, you would have gotten a Giving Tuesday email from someone yesterday.
Yeah. So we've decided to rebrand it because we don't think it's enough to just give. We think you ought to give a crap, right? And so we renamed it Giving a Crap Tuesday. Yeah. And that is the way we're going to refer to it going forward. Now, we may or may not, being the anti-organization. Scratch was telling me yesterday, he was talking to the advisory council for the foundation, and they were like, since we aren't we aren't the typical organization, we're an anti-organized group. Maybe we do this on a different day. Like maybe we ignore Giving Tuesday because that's the convention, and since we buck convention, maybe we do it on a different day. But this year we did not. Yeah. We did it on Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so we thank you all, first of all, for participation in your Giving a Crap Tuesday yesterday. And so as we were talking through it, and we'll hit some of the numbers and things, and honestly, I'm kind of blown away. We just thought it would be appropriate to get on and go, you know what? We ought to say thanks. We ought to say thanks. It's been kind of a weird year, although you could probably say that in just about any year, but there's any number of things that have led men to kind of lose a little heart or be discouraged, or many men face tragedies of different kinds, whether they were personal or whether they were large scale, like the hurricanes and different things like that. And we've done a lot to try and meet the needs where everybody are, where they are. So anyway, to say all that, we just thought we'd pop on and chat for a few minutes and kind of give you some highlights toward the end of the year, and take a peek into next year and talk a little bit about Giving a Crap Tuesday. And all that kind of stuff. So Scratch, that's kind of why we're here. So tell me, I know that you said we did well, and that the men were very generous, and many men gave a crap. Because again, giving money is fine, but really what we're here to do is to give a crap about the next man.
Yeah.
Right. And to give it away. And so in order for us to do that, we have to first give some money sometimes. Right.
Yeah, I think so. I know, like we always talk about DOA, giving locally is what should come first. And I think in terms of being a high impact man, you need to be generous. And so I think, some of the messaging we shared, I sent some text out yesterday. Even I think some of our tweets talked about, look, you should take inventory of your life, and you should say, what causes mean the most to me? What causes mean the most to my family? And, give accordingly. If F3s is near the top of that list or at the top, awesome. And I think we even said in some of our communications yesterday, and if it's not, you know what? That's okay too. But be generous somewhere. Be a generous man. So
yeah, I think the reason that we say that is not, again, if we were a different kind of organization, it would be very self-serving of us to say it. But we really believe that in order for you to have the most impact in your leadership and in your life, you have to make an acknowledgement of the fact that you didn't get here alone. That the things that you have are blessings. Now, whether you believe that they come from a higher power, or you believe that, whatever it might be, it doesn't matter. You have to recognize the fact that you didn't do this all by yourself. And so it's kind of important for you to give back to something, right? Because that's an acknowledgement of the fact that you're not the king of the world. And that's what faith is to us. And it's the third pillar of the F's, right?
Yeah.
So you got to do it. You got to do it.
So yesterday we had 76 guys gave a crap about giving it forward to the next. They gave a crap about the next man. Yeah. And so I'm not going to screen share to avoid technical glitches here, but as you can see, we raised $10,010 and counting. And I just want to shout out, one group who gave a big, huge, steaming,
crap.
crap about the
Sounds
next
so bad.
man. Yeah, it does. But like some people, they it doesn't matter how big a crap you give, just that you give a crap.
Sure,
We're going to get
sure.
so much mileage out of this. It's going to be amazing. But I want to shout out F3 Naperville and F3 Naperville Foundation, because I got a text from Fib, my boy up there, and he said, "Hey, we give a crap about the next man and the next group of men." And I'm not going to say how much they gave, but it was generous. And along with them, a lot of the packs out there decided to give a crap. In fact, a couple guys, Doa, said, "You know what, Scratch? I may have not normally given on Giving Tuesday, but I saw what you guys did. I saw the poop emoji, and I was like, you know what?" He was like, well played, F3 Nation. Like you got me. He's like, and one of the guys told me, he's like, Scratch, the fact that you guys had the balls to do that and to kind of do something different. He was like, okay, all right, you know what? I recognize that. I'll give. So that was cool.
We'll take it however we can get it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. It's one of the both beautiful and horrible things about running an organization of any kind, really, whether it's an anti-organization or not, is like it or don't like it, we got bills to pay. And not only do we have bills to pay, but I am 100% convinced and dedicated to the idea that, look, we have men to save. That's what we have. We have sad clowns to release from their intellectual prisons. You know what I mean? Like, we've got to get these guys out there. So the nice thing about it is every dollar that comes in here now, as we all know, we aren't giving it away to, in grants. We're not subsidizing, events or anything like that with Grow Ruck or any of that kind of stuff. It really is now. It's 100% dedicated to planting, growing, serving. And some of that means, leadership development type stuff. Some of that means, travel and things to try and help plant shovel flags, and it's negotiating stuff so we can make sure that we can get resources cheaper for, men, bulk book orders, all those kinds of, everything that we're doing is dedicated to that. So every dollar that comes in makes an absolute direct difference. In the lives of them.
Absolutely. And some guy, that's true, Doa. And some guys have asked me, like, well, Scratch, like, can you update me on like how my giving has made a difference? Like, what have we done? What has the nation done with the resources that you've had? And so
it's a reasonable question, right?
Yeah, it is. And look, I've worked in fundraising a long time, and I as a professional, but I also give generously. And I always ask that question to organizations I give to. So it's a question that should be asked. Luckily, we have a solid answer for that. If you head to f3nation.com and you click on resources and you click on the drop down there, annual report, and we've released our 2023 annual report, and you can go through that and see the successes we've had. You can see the financials. It's all there. So if you're wondering, like, well, I'm good to give, but kind of what did you do with my last gift? Well, go there, click on resources, you can check it out. That's and good. Then after the fact, we'll post a link in the comments so guys can see for themselves.
Yeah, it's in there. That's awesome. And, we spent a lot of time, and you and I have had some tough conversations, and the SLT's had some tough conversations around what do we cut? How do we cut it? How do we thin this thing out? How do we make this a more sustainable organization, but also, how do we make this so that it is more decentralized? The men from the ground are doing the hard work, and they're the ones benefiting, and that's where a lot of the things are happening, and how do we support those guys in the efforts that they're making and all that kind of stuff. And so it has been an interesting year of change and adjustment and just revamping, I guess. The F3 Nation 3.0, as we've been calling it. F3 F3.0, is that what we've been calling F3.0? F3 3.0, something like that. Anyway, but yeah, you can go there and you can check out exactly where every dollar went, because that was something that Slaughter was absolutely dedicated to when he took the Nantan flag from Dread, 3 years ago. 4 years ago now, I guess. Gosh, can you believe I'm coming up on a year doing this?
Yeah, I can. I'm 43 months running employee of the month. I've been here almost going on 4 years. So
that doesn't even make sense to me, though. That's fast. That's
crazy.
Fast, if you ask me. But it's the nice thing about this now is that we're trying to keep everything local, trying to push everything back and keep it decentralized and have have the nation's regions be the ones doing all the driving, if you will.
Yeah.
And so that's been really good, and we're really, really grateful for all the men who have stepped up. I see a comment there from Chris Liston says the text yesterday prompted him, so thanks for sending that.
All right,
that's good.
Giddy up.
Yeah,
Giddy
that's
up.
good.
100%.
Yep. So I would say that now that we've kind of we've hit some of these things, we're kind of coming into the end of the year, and it would be very logical for me to give you some sort of like end of year message, or something like that. And I'm not necessarily overly inclined to do what I think is the right thing or what I think everybody else is doing or whatever. But I can tell you this: as we head into the end of this year, it is probably it's been a very interesting year as we've kind of reshaped and restructured some things in F3. It's been interesting to travel around and see some of the regions and the health that they have and what they're doing. It's been interesting to read some of the challenges that they're having in like the Nantan Slack and other things like that. But first of all, I want to give you a quick announcement, I guess, if you will, that right after the first of the year, we're going to do our third ever State of the Nation address. You're going to hear very specific plans. Well, first of all, we're going to do a really kind of thorough review of the last year, some of the things that have changed, some of the things that have happened, give you kind of a nice recap, but then also look forward to what next year is going to look like, and some very strong specifics around different things that the nation's going to be doing and why we're doing it. I don't want to give too much away, but there may be another or a return to an old podcast.
Oh, don't fact check that.
Right. No, you can fact check it. But there may be a relaunch of some podcasting going on. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's coming. And so look for the announcements around the State of the Nation coming after the first of the year. But it's been a very good year so far, and we've done a lot of stuff, and I'm really, really grateful for the men who are out there working. Now, as you kind of head into this end of the year, one of the things I think guys get tempted to do, Scratch, is to sort of check out. Like pretty much from now, really.
I mean, holidays are busy time, man. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. And so they kind of hit Thanksgiving, they get through that, and then it's like, I know I got a little work to do, but then I'm going to kind of, drift off into nowhere because it is a busy time. And you've got probably 3 or 4 events every weekend that you easily could attend between, F3 or church or, whatever other groups or families or, whatever, right? Tons of travel happening, all that kind of stuff. But we don't want guys to forget as we kind of head into the end of the year here and look and say, what else should I be doing? We're buying gifts for our kids. I bought a whole bunch of stuff, over the break here.
Yeah.
And there's still a little bit more to do. We got all the big gifts, kind of squared away, and a lot of holiday planning and whatnot. But end of year giving, whether that's to family members or not, right? But end of year giving in terms of charitable giving is a big, big thing. And I think that, Scratch, the question you asked me that I thought was very poignant, that I'd love for you to speak to for just a minute is that kind of, you alluded to it before, which is, what cause means the most to me? What is the cause that means the most to me? Now, I can answer that. For me, primarily, the cause, if you will, that is my primary, and I give to it all year long, is my faith, my church, right? That for me is, I pay legitimately, and guys will look at me and kind of, wrinkle their brow sometimes, like 10% of my income plus goes to my church. That's one of the ways that I charitably give. There's a few other small little causes here and there, but number 2 right after that is F3. Yeah. Now, significant to that is, a lot of it's my time, right? I don't give a ton of financial resources. I mean, I try, I'd be generous, but we give a lot to that. But for me, it's F3. But I think that it's a reasonable question to ask anybody: is what is that cause that is most important to you? So, if you were to ask guys that, what kinds of answers do you think you'd get?
It's interesting. I think there can be so much distraction in this season. Right. I mean, it's really, if you're not careful, it's a season of being a consumer. I mean, good gracious. I walk into like whatever big box store and holiday, Christmas or holiday decorations or whatever you want to call it are up, and it's not even close to Thanksgiving. And Black Friday now starts Black Friday starts in April. You can, start shopping. I mean,
Right.
it's like,
Yeah.
it's just great. And so I just feel like
Yeah, they may
feel
as well
like
just have the Christmas decorations next
Yeah.
to the Easter decorations and just,
It's
it's all
just-
year long, whatever.
it's going to be like how school districts push themselves to be a year-round school. But at any rate, it's a season of being a consumer. That's what we've been trained to do. And what
It's
would
true.
it be like to shift our mindset from being a consumer and buying all the stuff for our partners or our kids or whatever, right? From being a consumer to being a contributor. I think there's a fine line that separates those two, and I think being a contributor in this season of giving thanks, just coming out of Thanksgiving, of taking inventory of what we've experienced in the past year. Some things better than others, some seasons of blessings, some seasons of extreme hardship, but it's all part of the journey. And I think being a contributor, and like you said, recognizing that you didn't get here alone.
Yeah.
And none of this stuff is ours anyways. I mean, we're just, no matter what your faith practice is, we're here for a very short time, and we're called to be stewards of our gifts and our talents and our resources. And so the last thing I'll say is I had a great conversation with Jenny from Knoxville. I'm not going to use Jenny, but and I can't find her last name, but I'll just go ahead and shout it out. Mermaid, who's the Nantan there in Knoxville. I had a conversation with them because they, as a family, decided to give a very generous gift. The email came through. I picked up the phone. I got to talk to Jenny for a few minutes, and she just shared her heart around what F3 had done for her husband and how she's never seen him more alive. And I think everybody that I ever talked to has the same story. So again, this isn't some canned question that you and I planned, but when I look around and I look at the organizations that have the most impact in my life, and I hear this all the time, maybe beyond my church, I can't think of anything else besides F3. And some guys even put F3 above the church. The church is maybe where they get fed, but F3 and the Gloom is where they live out this idea that I'm not the center of the universe.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, it is enhanced. And I've been telling guys this a lot lately, as guys are thinking about, the role that F3 ought to play or should play in their lives. And look, I mean, there's no question. F3 is large, and it's happy to take all of you. If it can eat you alive if you're not careful, right? You gotta be smart. But I've been telling guys, like, F3 is, and the things that we teach and the things that we learn here. So, Q source and some of the stuff you read in Free to Lead and the other LDP, materials and stuff that Camo has put together in those programs and his team, like, F3 is the operating system. You can upload it to whatever you want, and it is going to enhance what you're doing there. It will make you a better man of faith. It will make you a better employee or employer. It will do that. It doesn't matter what you apply it to. So it doesn't matter where you upload that operating system. It's going to get better. And, just like any operating system, right? It requires tweaking and massage, and you got to work on it, right?
Patches have to be pushed out, software updates. And for those of you who actually believe that we're living in a simulation in the Matrix, what if F3 was a different operating system that you could choose? Wow.
We're Linux, by golly.
That preaches.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So, so as we head to the end of the year, look, I'm not a guy who asks for money because candidly, it's a weird construct to me, and I'm not always very good with it. But I am a guy who asks you to be dedicated. I am a guy who asks you to live out with integrity the principles and things that you claim to believe. And I think that is crucial. I think that is important. And I think the part of the way that you do that is you put your money where your mouth is, right? And again, like I said, if I was to look at the places I contribute most of my time and resources and money and everything else, I named them, outside of supporting my family and keeping everybody, keeping roofs over our heads and clothes on our backs, right? Those are the places that I give. And really almost exclusively those two, because those are the things that have had the greatest impact in my life. And so I think when we head to this end of the year kind of stuff, I want you to think about that. And if as Scratch said, if it is F3, fantastic. If it's not, okay, I don't really care. The nice thing about this, I was telling guys this morning in COT, because they were getting twisted up and give me a lot of crap because we were kind of reviewing core principles, and they're like, does the order really matter? I mean, come on, does the order really matter? And I was like, bruh, the order matters. And here's why. The part of the reason is, and think about this, you attend a free workout. Free. Every other workout on the planet takes money from you that I'm aware of, right? If it happens with any consistency or anything like that, right? Like this is it. Like this is what you do. You go there and it's free. And who else gives you something for free? Almost nobody. Nobody. And so you have to kind of think to yourself, what are the intentions of those groups? And what are they going to tell me? Can they tell me the truth, or are they going to tell me pleasing things so that they can continue to get my money? Right. So whether it's a workout or whether it's a men's group or, whatever it is, right? Any of these, self-actualization. And I'm not trying to dog on anybody in particular. And I'm not saying that they're bad. I think guys should go and do that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
But when you get down to it, the only way for us to remain pure, right, where you're getting the truth, we can actually speak with candor, where we can actually challenge one another and all that kind of stuff. The only way for that to happen is for this to be free and for me to never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, collect a salary. I'm not an employee. The leader of the organization is not a salaried employee. He had, that it's as simple as that. So I don't need your money. I don't care. I mean, I do, because it helps us, right? But
sure.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't make a huge difference. So what does make a huge difference, though, is that you are living according to the integrity that you're doing what you say you're going to do, and you act in a way that is of the belief that you say you have.
Yeah.
And so I think when we head into the end of the year, right, and into kind of the giving it away sort of mentality and end of year giving, I think that is critical. I think that is critical.
No
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
As the kids say.
As the kids say.
No kids say that anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I think as we head into the year end, I think like you said, a lot of groups, especially maybe fitness groups that are out there or gyms, they take, and maybe at best they give you. I know I saw one that's like they give birthday suits made here, sculpted here or something. They take your money. They take your money and they give you maybe a good feeling of being fit. But man, how much more does F3 give you? Yeah. And I think that probably one of the best reminders of what F3 provides is a sense of belonging and a sense of brotherhood and guys who have your back. And I think we have a story that really embodies that. Some of the guys may have seen it, Cardinal story. And if you want a dose of reality of why we do what we do and why this thing was created, I think now we're going to let the guys check out that short video and just be reminded of why it is that we do what we do.
Taylor Phelps, 36, FNG.
Attaboy, FNG.
Taylor came home from his first workout and he was just so excited. He loved it, and you could just see in his face that it had just lit something inside of him. He did talk about the workout, but he talked more about the men that he met and their F3 names and how he had gotten his own name.
Taylor Phelps, 36, Cardinal.
Cardinal.
He went there for the fitness. What he found was the fellowship, and that was something that he had really been missing in his life. It made him a more complete, happier person.
That was definitely a morning that I will never forget.
First exercise, burpees. So I got my first set of burpees done. I rolled over to do my big boy sit-ups and saw Cardinal go down.
After his death, F3 showed up and kept showing up. They were there at the funeral and the burial. They were there at church the following Sunday. They were just there. They were always just there.
One of the important things for us in F3 is to not leave any man behind. And when we lost Cardinal, we knew that we couldn't leave his family behind. So we had to step up and stand in that gap.
The difficulty and the hardship that we went through that morning really did something to draw us together. And what we realized is that's what happens every morning in F3 across the world. Where that's happening, Guys are coming together, doing hard things, doing difficult things together. And that brotherhood, because of the support that you need, does something to someone's life. And we want that for every man in this nation.
Man.
Wow.
The short version is good. The long version will tear your heart out. So you ought to go to. Is it on YouTube? Have we got that up on the YouTubes?
Yeah, we'll put a link to it in the comments too.
Okay.
You can find it if you go to f3nation.com and you click on the Give It Away banner. It's at the top of the year in giving page, but we'll make sure that that access is shared. So.
Got it. Yeah, watch the long one because it's powerful. But fellas, that's what we're here for, right? We're here to give a crap about the next man. We're here to get right so that we can then live right and dedicate ourselves to purposefulness, right? So that we can lead right and we can pull other men along and help them on their journey so that ultimately when we leave this earth, whenever that may be, and you know, God willing, much later than sooner, right? But whenever that time is, that we can know in our hearts that we have left a legacy that we've been called to leave. That when they won't necessarily remember everything that we did, they may not even remember our name. In fact, if they don't remember me at all, okay, but I will know, and we will know. Some of us who are close, you know, who I'm close to may know that we left the world a better place, right? That we had actual, legitimate, measurable impact in the lives of other men, and that's what I think we're here for. We've got to change our communities. We've got to change the world that we live in, and it's not going to happen in politics. It's not going to happen in business. It just isn't. It's going to happen on the ground in your families, and then by virtue of that into your communities. That's where it's going to happen.
Yeah, and like you say, we're not here to change the world. We're here to change the hearts of men and unlock them so that they can go change the world. So like you said, if F3 has meant something to you between now and December 31st, you can go to f3nation.com, click on Give It Away. If it means something to you, and if another organization means more, then go be generous there. But have an impact. Have an impact in this year end, and shift yourself from the mindset of a consumer to that of a contributor in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Yep. I love it, man. Hey,
last words, Doa?
No, that's it, man. You wrapped it up beautifully. Scratch, you I know that we joke a lot about you being the 43-month employee or whatever it is. But I would just like to again thank the men who were so generous yesterday in Giving a Crap Tuesday. I want to thank every man who's been generous, not just to F3, but part of the reason we paused the Accelerate and paused giving and encouraged guys not to give to F3 for a period of time there, to say, hey, go give to the cause that means the most to you, whatever it might be. But in particular on this part of the world, the guys, I talked to a guy yesterday at work who's still out of his house down in Florida after back-to-back hurricanes. He's still living in a townhouse until that's all fixed, right? The mountains of North Carolina are still, struggling to come out. And you guys have been very, very generous in all of those areas. I think that is how this world gets changed. And so, again, if it's us, if it's something else, fine, whatever. But I can tell you this: we plan to build a lot more operating system. We plan to carve a whole lot more 43 feet ahead. And we have big things planned for what I believe that F3 Nation can mean in the lives of men, to unlock them so that they can go change the world. And so I just wanted to thank the men again for their generosity. Scratch, I want to thank you personally. And no, I'm serious. Indirectly that, and you're just gonna have to take it. So shut up. You're a guy who works tirelessly on behalf of the nation. And that's a big deal. And people can be like, oh, it's your job. Look, man, I work with a lot of people, and you do too, friends, who, yes, it's their job, but they ain't giving, they ain't wearing themselves out. You know what I mean? And Scratch, you wear yourself out in the service of the nation.
Yeah,
I appreciate
well,
it very, very much. So
Thanks.
thank you.
Well, there's a difference between a job and your D2X, and I found that here. And as the only response I have to your praise is I would just say honored.
That's reasonable. I
So-
said something to Dred the other day about like, I guess this is where you would say honored. And he's like, it is. It is also where you should say it. And fair.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
There you go. Thanks, man. Appreciate everything. Gentlemen out there in the world, we love you. I mean that so sincerely. I can't even, I don't know how to express it differently. Like this organization means a lot to me, and you men mean a lot to me. And I believe that we're changing the world. And I think that's what we've been called to do. And so we're going to keep doing it.
All right. Let's
right.
give it away.
Thank you, brother.
Peace and love.